Welcome to the Alaska Land Podcast, stories from the Fairbanks North Star boroughs past, present, and future, with your host, Mayor Bryce Ward. Each episode, we'll sit down with Fairbanks' most interesting characters for a fascinating conversation about where we've been and where we're going. And now, Mayor Ward.
Howdy, folks. It's me, Bryce Ward. We're here at Cabin 13 at Pioneer Park to do the Alaska Land Podcast. Today is the first edition of this episode. We've got Donnie, who is our Pioneer Park manager for this facility, and we're going to talk past, present, future about Pioneer Park.
Who better to have on as the very first one for the Alaska Land podcast, right?
Yes. So maybe, Donnie, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then let's talk a little bit about the park and how this all came about.
Absolutely. So, father of 6, 4 girls, 2 boys. It's girl, girl, boy, girl, girl, boy. I had a rhythm. It wasn't the rhythm I thought was going to happen, but I for the longest time I thought I was going to have, a boy, a girl, and then a boy, and then a girl, then a boy. Well,
we don't get those choices, do we?
We don't. Everyone kindly reminds me, well, Donnie, that is your fault, right?
Yep.
And so it is. But I love my kids. We're super excited to be here in Fairbanks. We've been here for 4 years now. We lived in Southeast Alaska in Petersburg. We spent 6 years there as the Parks and Recreation Director. Spent some time in St. Louis for a year before we quickly realized that we missed Alaska. And that, like I told someone earlier today, Alaska gets underneath your skin and it just becomes a part of you. And you realize, man, gosh, I miss it. I need it.
You're drawn back.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so, we were so excited to find out that there was a position open here in Fairbanks. And when I was told that the job was being offered to me, like, there was definitely some dancing, and we were super excited. So got here 4 years ago, and it has been a whirlwind ever since. One of the first things that I realized when I got here was that we have some of the coolest history in the country, and a lot of artifacts and pieces and buildings and boats and you name it can be found, right here in the park. And so it's a pretty exciting thing to be a part of that.
And that's really part of why the park was originally created, right? To bring these bits of history, these features of the interior of Fairbanks to one place to preserve them, to celebrate.
Yeah, absolutely. And so like you almost have to think of the park as a mid 20th century barn raising, right? There were so many people involved. So many volunteers, so many nonprofits, and everybody just pitched in. Okay, let's have a centennial celebration. We want to have it on this piece of property. Pioneers of Alaska, donated the land so that way, we could have it. And then people just started jumping in and saying, okay, well, how do we make this happen? Oh, hey, by the way, I've got this. Would you like it for, the centennial celebration? So, because the park started as the Pioneer Memorial Park. And so the Pioneers of Alaska had this idea to create this park, and they used it for, a lot of years, and were getting ready to build their own museum and have this own park. And then the idea for the Centennial Center or a Centennial Celebration came about. So then they gave the ground to that organization. And so then A67 Exposition was created. And so then it started being built, and 1967 happened, and then the flood came, and
this all happened at the same time, right?
All at the same time, which is a really hard thing. And so, the park had a really rough start, but it has survived, it has progressed, it keeps on going. And the only reason it keeps on going is because of the people of Fairbanks, the community members, the nonprofits, and those that are constantly just jumping in and saying, okay, how do we raise this barn?
So that's how the park started, was Fairbanksans, interior Alaskan residents that have come together and said, let's build this thing.
Yeah.
And that's really how it's continued. I mean, that's the story of many of the different features in the park. Is there's been a very specific group of individuals that have been very passionate about it. I mean, that's the story of the Nenana, right?
Yes.
Is we went through a whole process here about 2 years ago. What are we going to do with this?
Yep.
Ultimately got a project funded through the assembly to get it back open again.
Right.
Maybe talk a little bit about the boat, right? That's like, is that the hallmark piece of the park?
I believe it is. Absolutely. I mean, when you first walk into the park through the main entrance, after you saw the train, you see the boat. You see the SS Nenana. You see its paddle wheels. And that is such, like, it's just huge. It's like, whoa, look at those paddles. And it's a cool first view as you walk in. Its history is integral to Alaska. It was the stern wheelers that really started or made Fairbanks prominent. It was those stern wheelers that brought the products for gold mining. It was those stern wheelers that helped during wars. It was those stern wheelers that really made us who we are. And so having the SS Nenana here is amazing. It is an integral piece to our history. And as I was telling you earlier today, I truly see that our history is our future. Mm-hmm. And so we need to preserve that. How do we do that? How do we fund it? Those are the things that we always will have to just keep on talking about and continue to make it a priority. And I've really appreciated that the Assembly and yourself and a lot of us have been able to work with organizations like the Friends of the SS Nenana to preserve that. That group, created because of the fear that we may lose it, has been a huge part of me personally learning the history of it. They've shared things with me that I didn't know. For example, the SS Nenana had 3 captains. Guess what? 2 of those captains were related to each other. It was one captain and then his nephew, I believe, that became the 2 bookend captains. And that's
amazing.
It only had 3 for all the years that it ran.
And so how many years did the SS Nenana run the Chena?
So from the late 30s until, or maybe it was middle 30s until just about towards the end of the 50s that it ran.
And then it sat on the banks of the Chena for almost a decade before it found its home here in the park, right?
One of my favorite things in the whole entire world is the comments that I see from folks talking about, oh yeah, when it was on the banks, we would just go and play on it. We would run on it, and me and so we had our did this activity on there, and I don't know that people really knew how many people were actually just going on it while it was sitting on the Chena. But everybody has a story of their experience with the boat from that time period. But then the boat was turned over to the park as part of that A67 exposition. The Chena was trenched out into the park, and they floated it in. Tourists, when they hear that, they can't believe it.
Well, you kind of wonder when you're in the middle of the park, and how did it get here?
Yes.
I imagine that's quite the story.
Oh, absolutely. I would have loved to have seen it. There actually is video out there of it being floated into the park. That's pretty cool. It's amazing. People forget that we're actually still kind of a new state. Mm-hmm. And so there's, the wood cutting truck that we have here in the park.
Yeah.
Woodsaw Bill's wood cutting truck.
Mm-hmm.
Just recently we found video of him actually cutting logs with the truck.
That's here at the park.
That's here at the park. Yes. It's so cool. There's so much to research and find and to learn about. Who would have thought to themselves, hey, let's take an old Model T, let's hook a big strap up to it, and then connect a saw to the back, and let me cut wood with it.
That sounds super safe.
It's about as safe as you could possibly get. But you know what? he has both of his hands in all the videos that I saw. I mean, like, I don't know. I've never heard any stories about someone getting hurt on it.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible the things that people were able to do back in those days. And we've got a lot of opportunities here at the park to really create those same things. Of course, we're working on the Pioneer Park Master Plan. So what are we going to do for the next 20 years? Mm-hmm. How do we maintain the things that we have? How do we update the things that we have? How do we, as a park and as a recreation center, as the community gathering point, how do we grow? And I'm really excited because that information is starting to get out, and we're starting to have additional meetings to be able to share that. We've heard some really cool things. One of the things that people keep on telling us is, hey, as a park, you guys forget about the river. Mm-hmm. And so as we've been looking at this plan, we've been really trying to say to ourselves, okay, how do we invite the river in? How do we access the river? How do we participate in recreation at the river itself? And so that's definitely something that we're trying to evaluate right now and figure out how we can make the park better by accessing the river more often. The views of the river, I mean, that's prime real estate. It's amazing. How do we take advantage of that?
So, Donnie, you talked a little bit about the master plan. Maybe let's dive into this a little bit. What exactly is the master plan? What does it mean for the park? You talked about the future. And we've got some wonderful guests in the cabin with us, the mosquitoes. They have just come out in full force to give us a welcome here.
They have.
But let's talk about the master plan and some of the work that's going on. There's been a number of community meetings.
There has.
We've got a draft version that's coming out. And you said this really sets the stage for the next 20 years. So what do we do with the infrastructure? Maybe talk a little bit about the process that's gone through and then what's coming ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, the past, right? So what have we done to this point? We've had a couple of different meetings with the community. We've had a survey that has been out there. We've had actually 2 different surveys. We have a survey for those who are at the park right now using it and asking the questions, what did you use it for? What type of things? Why did you come to the park? And so that's very specific about, your experience that day. And then we also have a survey for the community members, asking the questions of, okay, you've been to the park in the last year. Why did you come to the park in the last year? What drives you to the park? What kinds of things would you like to see the park do better? What are the issues that you see for the park? And so we've been constantly asking these questions, and we've heard some really cool things. And I'm really excited about where that's taking us. Some of the things that we have heard is, like I said, the river. Mm-hmm. Hey, how do we focus on the river a little bit more? How do we include that? But also, hey, Donnie, guess what? You have a lot of history in the park, right? How are you going to maintain that? There are important parts of this park that need help right now. Mm-hmm. And so some of the things that we're evaluating and looking at is like a cabin a year project, where we did a full facility assessment as part of this plan. We had Design Alaska come in and go through each individual cabin, looking at the structures, looking at the foundations, looking at the roofs. How do we make sure that these are, as ADA accessible as possible? How do we make it so that people can actually come in, use those, and that they're inviting and friendly? And so we're going to be working on individual cabins to be able to upgrade those foundations, to make sure that they're structurally sound, so that the vendors that are in them can feel safe, that they have the necessary utilities or equipment that they need to be able to continue to provide a great service to the community. So that's something that's coming down, because we need to preserve that.
Right. I mean, that's the story. I mean, for the most part, most of the structures that are here at the park are over 100 years old.
Yeah.
And 100 years of time in Fairbanks, Alaska can be really hard on a building. And so,
especially when it's a wood building.
Exactly.
Yes.
So you're looking at how do you maintain these pieces of history, of Fairbanks history, for the long term, which may require some reconstruction. It may require some remodeling, if you will. You've got a couple projects right now. I mean,
Yeah.
just right down the church. So we're here
Yes.
at Cabin 13, which was redone probably, 10 years ago?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we've got another project down the street with the church, the First Church in Fairbanks, right?
Yep, the very first church in Fairbanks. It's a First Presbyterian church, still used to this day, every Sunday, except for when we're doing construction. But every Sunday they're here. They're celebrating. They're having their services. And right now, what we're working on is we had some bowing of the walls. The roof structure had some significant issues. The foundation had some issues, and so
I think it was at a level about 3 inches.
yes,
right. So
absolutely, and the roof structure itself that was putting so much pressure on. It was like 150% of the pressure that it was supposed to have, right on the walls, and so the walls were starting to cave a little bit. And so this construction project is exactly what we're trying to fix. We're fixing that foundation. We're fixing the roof. We're fixing the walls. We're going to put some paint on it. And so it's definitely going to be in position to survive years to come. That's a project. We're working on the bathrooms. That's a project. Miniature golf is back. We're looking forward to opening that here in the very, very, very near future. We're excited about that because that provides us another piece of history that has been in the park for a long time, and we're able to restore that. And that's something the community already is super excited about. So we're pumped. Lots of great things happening, movement in the right direction. The goal is to make sure that this park is here for our kids and their kids for years and years to come.
And then help tell the story, right?
Yes.
Help tell the story of Fairbanks and of our history, of our past, of our and really to set the stage for the future. So I'm super excited about it. I'm super excited on the work that you're doing here at the park, and encourage all of our residents, from your guests, your family, bring them on down.
Yeah.
We've got vendors in the park here that are open after noon. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep. Noon to 8 is typically when the vendors are open.
So noon to 8 from Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Yep.
And so come on down. The train's not running this year. Unfortunately, my kids call it the train park, but that is going to be, we're doing some repairs on that system, and things are going to be up and running next year.
Next year, 100%. This year, unfortunately, the 2 train trestles, they're wood. Guess what? Wood has rot, and so we need to fix that rot. And we just want to make sure it's safe.
Yeah.
And so, yes, we're taking a pause this year on the train. But that provides us an opportunity to make some good repairs, and we can look towards the future. Know that people can ride it for years and years to come.
So this summer, park's open. You've got vendors. You've got ice cream.
You got ice cream.
Food.
You got tacos. You've got souvlaki. You've got hamburgers. You got the salmon bake. There's still lots of things going on. I mean, the Salmon Bake is doing these once a month activities with Goldies. And so they bring out their slushy truck and have performers over there on Wednesday evenings at 6 p.m. And so everybody's trying. They're saying, okay, last year with COVID was rough. Let's start getting ourselves back off the ground. And we're going to see that continue to grow as the weeks go on this summer.
That's great. So encourage folks to come down to Pioneer Park, check it out. If you get a chance, stop by and say hi to Donnie.
Yeah, please do. And if you want to come and be like, come on Alaska Land, I'll laugh and I'll give you the thumbs up, and I'll know that you've been around for a long time and you still cherish it today.
Definitely. Well, Donnie, I grew up with Alaska Land. This podcast name is a shout out to that history, to that aspect of our town that we just absolutely love. So, Donnie, it's been a pleasure to do our first podcast with you here at the park and talk about what you do for the community. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Fairbanks, oh Fairbanks.
Thanks for listening to the Alaska Land Podcast. We hope you found today's conversation enlightening. For more episodes, listen on your mobile device through your favorite podcast app, or watch at youtube.com/Fairbanks North Starborough.
Above the adventure soul that live and breathe the Alaskan dream, our head.